Invasion!
We've developed a new product. We've developed a new product. It's completely synthetic, therefore no growing, no refining, no peasants, best of all, no international borders, no customs agents. There in that case in front of you are two detailed prospecti on marketing with anticipated cash flow and so forth.
You racist Americans, you just want to cut us poor Hispanics completely out of the market.
And I think you know that there's no such thing as an American anymore. No Hispanics, no Japanese, no blacks, no whites, no nothing. It's just rich people and poor people.
Wait! Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of I Hate It Here, where we spend 1 hour hating humanity so you don't have to. I'm your host, Richard Lewis. With me, as always, is my producer, Sam, and we're braced to trawl through everything stupid and horrific that's going on in the world. Are you ready for it, Sam?
Yeah, I'm ready to feel better about myself, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
Do it.
I mean, we're gonna start gently. Obviously, we always like to open the show with some stupid shit, just ease people in. So this is a novel way of dealing with. I'm a guy that doesn't like to do housework. I don't really enjoy it. I won't pay for a cleaner though, because I think that's maybe a little bit sort of demeaning, and decadent. So I just wait until it gets to the point where I'm like, man, if someone was to come around and see how I'm living, they'd probably not want to be my friend anymore. And then I go on a big binge clean. That's how I handle things. Well, in America, of course, they do things very, very differently. This is a story here in Oklahoma where 5 suspects kidnapped someone and they didn't ransom the victim, they didn't torture the victim, they didn't rob the victim, they didn't rape the victim. They just threatened the victim and made him do their laundry, as well as other household chores.
That can't be worth the kidnapping charge, surely. The risk is not worth the reward there.
Well, I mean, I don't know how bad it was, so I can't really speak. I mean, shit, man. Like, maybe one of them has like IBS or Crohn's or something. Like, and it's just constantly
hell.
shitting. I don't know. It can be a mess, man. It can be a mess. So maybe,
Jesus Christ.
and they got to clean that up. Well, anyway, they basically held knives to the victim and said, "We'll kill you. We'll kill your family." He was also made to clean a fish tank and do dirty dishes. And the District 25 chief, Robert Frost, said, "In 32 years on the force, I have never seen a more bizarre case than this. All 5 individuals who kidnapped him have been arrested." And you're quite right, they're going to face a long, long time in prison, especially in Oklahoma, where they don't take kindly to kidnapping.
Apparently not.
They don't take kindly to it. So yeah, that's bad news for him. Then again, if you think that's the stupidest thing you're going to hear, I'll refer you to a story in the New York Times. The headline should be enough to make you realize just how retarded this is. Headline is, "Woman who shot at Home Depot shoplifters vows to never help anyone again." Not vows to never shoot at anyone again, just to never help anyone again. So I'll tell you about this story. This was back in October. A 46-year-old Michigan woman who had a concealed carry permit was carrying a fully licensed 9mm handgun. There was 2 shoplifters fleeing Home Depot. They got into a sports utility vehicle, and she noticed that they were, fleeing the scene. So instead of doing what most people would do, maybe you get a note of the number plate, get a description of the perpetrators, call the police, she pulled out her 9mm and started shooting indiscriminately at the car. Now, what's interesting is she even said that she wasn't fully aware of what was going on in court. She said she just
Great time to use
noticed.
a gun then, of course.
Yep. She just noticed that there was a fuss, a brouhaha was kicking off, and she decided to just open fire. And anyway, now naturally, you would think this is going to be bad for her because you can't argue that this is a reckless use of a firearm. There's no argument to the contrary that I can see, at least, anyway. And certainly, it's not appropriate. If you want to help people shoplifting, I mean, you're going to have problems if you wrestle them to the ground and hold them down. I mean, there's an argument there that it isn't proportionate force. I don't think you would get convicted, but certainly you could have charges brought against you. I've been in that situation before. I've intervened to stop a crime, and I end up going to the police station along with the person that I prevented from committing the crime. And so it's not all black and white, folks. You got to be real careful. Anyway,
especially if they're robbing Home Depot. Just who's asked? Home Depot don't really care. What's the most they could have possibly stolen from this massive brand? Why would you just start straight popping homies for no reason? Like, they stole a TV. End them all.
Imagine if she'd clipped both of them with precision shots to the back of the head. I just killed those two guys. What were they doing? Shoplifting? I mean, it's not proportionate. There's no argument. Anyway, in a summary statement, the perpetrator, Miss Duva Rodriguez, said that she made a decision in a split second. Maybe it was not the right one, but I was trying to help.
Maybe it was.
Maybe. And she added, I tried to help. I learned my lesson. And I will never help anybody again. Yeah. She got 18 months probation and had her license to carry a concealed weapon revoked until at least 2023, when it'll be independently reviewed. So there you go.
Point. Yeah. Like how she just, you tell her how, like, see, she's been in court. It's alright, I'll just never help anyone again. No, yeah, my fault. Yeah, I'll just never help anyone. No, not if you're going to shoot at them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, here's the thing as well, though, seriously, to equate helping someone, right? We're talking about a corporation that's insured up the ass anyway. Yeah. So you're not really helping someone, you're helping something. I wouldn't really call it helping. I mean, you don't even know the circumstances behind why those guys are shoplifting. It's coming up to Christmas. Well, no, it wasn't. It was in October. But okay, it's still coming up to Christmas, I guess. These people could be horrifically impoverished, living in absolute squalor. They could be stealing equipment to sell for money, for food for their kids. You're gonna cap them. That's not necessarily helping, is it? I don't know where she's got the idea that shooting at people is helping.
It's alright. I'll just never help anyone again. It's fine. Just never help.
Well. If you thought she was a retard, you're gonna love this guy from Houston. You might even want to play the video. So this is a guy who went on to the Interstate 45 road, obviously very busy. It's an interstate road, and proposed to his girlfriend, stopping traffic on a fucking interstate. I cannot express, for British people and European people, just how retarded this is. Now, what happened was there was all the cars at the back up, but one of the things, it was reported that somebody in the queue that got stopped by what he was doing, this romantic gesture, there was a woman who was on her way to hospital to have an emergency cesarean section to give birth to her kid.
It's not even a romantic place to, like, what? In a road? Like, come the fuck on.
I mean, I don't get why anyone would want to, I could take, do you know where we had our first date? Do you remember when
the first time we fucked, baby, on that highway going 80 miles an hour?
Yeah, you remember that? Remember that when I was driving in my fucking brown shit Chevy Nova and you like reached over and you put your hand into my trousers and just gave me a hand job while we were driving and I like blorted all over the steering wheel. Do you remember that?
Jesus Christ.
I like that so much I decided to bring you back here, baby. Right here on this road. That's what we're doing. I mean, so anyway, this dude is obviously facing criminal charges. Get this. In his defense, the lawyer said the spot where he proposed had a significant meaning to his fiancée.
Yeah, definitely busting it. Busting it.
It was not done to grab any type of personal attention. Why the fuck are people filming it? And again, the central conceit there is that, like, I'm going to stop all this traffic, and I'm going to do it in a public place, but I don't want to draw any attention. You don't want to draw any attention? Do it in your fucking house.
Or just somewhere nice. Do it in Paris. I'm not asked. It's not where you're fucking up my day. Get the fuck... Knock him over. I'm not asked. Done with this. Driving. Dunzo. Not saying kill him, just have a little bump off the dash, mate. Just a little boof. Just knock a sense into him.
It's unfortunate criminal charges were filed. He voluntarily surrendered. Yeah, I mean, there was an ex-police officer in the by the way.
Yeah, right.
When I met them in my office, they were a cute couple, and they want to get this behind them. They want to enjoy their engagement and not be prosecuted for how they got engaged. Well, I got news for you guys. Like, this is going to be a bitter pill to swallow. This isn't just aimed at them. This is just for everyone in general. The world doesn't fucking revolve around you, man. Like, it's just that simple. I cannot even believe that somebody would be so selfish as to, like, prevent people perhaps getting to medical emergencies, perhaps driving home from a long day at work where they have to commute further and further because times are hard in America and they got to go further to work, and you're going to fucking uphold somebody just trying to get home. Like, that 15 minutes is extra 15 minutes of fucking time with his kids, time sleeping. You're going to fucking deprive him of that so you can have your little fucking special moment in public. No one gives a fuck. And newsflash, I don't know if you've seen divorce rates. It doesn't even matter how fucking romantic your gesture is. You're donezo within 7 fucking years anyway. Fucking donezo. Marriage is bullshit. Here's the hilarious thing. You're going to be living on that interstate when you get divorced and she takes the house from you. What the fuck is this cat thinking? The fuck this guy? Anyway.
I done it right. She says that she has, they have, like, something, an attachment to this part of the road. Right, so the attachment is either she killed someone was killed, or he's bust a nut in it. So it's one of the three. The fact he hasn't mentioned it is probably bust a nut. So it'll sound real romantic. Make sure you tell your kids that one, mate. And see, this kid's on this highway. This is the first time a nut in your mum's mouth. Yeah, sound cloud. Yeah, mint.
Yeah, sound. Yeah. So, I mean, just fuck these people, seriously. Right? These fucking narcissists. Now, this shouldn't really be in stupid, because obviously it's horrific and harrowing, right? But you're not even going to believe this. This is next fucking level.
Jesus, the title's unreal.
Yeah, I know. So, this is a story about a millionaire rape suspect who's a property developer. He was accused of raping a teenager. And raping a teenager as she slept. His defense in court was that he accidentally penetrated her when he tripped and fell on top of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? So this is what we call invoking the Eminem defense. She tripped, fell, landed on his dick. This is the male version of that. Okay? So this is Esen Abdulaziz, 46. And basically, he took 2 teenage girls, well, 1 teenage girl and 1 slightly older, to his, home, his flat. They were having a nightcap, having a drink. I think he had sex with one of them, and then the other one was asleep on the sofa, and she woke up and he was having sex with her. All right? And he even changed his story, by the way, after they found DNA tests that found traces of his semen in her.
Fuck it, no.
Right? So he said on this occasion, right? So he changed it, saying that, like, oh, it was an accident, blah, blah, blah. Then it was, well, I just had sex with a friend and my penis was still erect. And I had semen on my hands when I went into the living room. I tripped, fell. I may have penetrated her. I don't know. But the semen was on my hands. And for some reason, my semen-covered hands went into her vagina as well. And that's how the semen got there. Right? This is his defense. So you're like, well, this guy is just cooked. This guy's goose is fucking cooked. He's gonna get arrested. He's going to get convicted in a record amount of time. This is the most open and shut thing you've ever seen. The defense is laughable. He hasn't even been consistent in his fucking story, right? And he can't come up with a plausible alternative beyond that he accidentally fell. He's not even denying that he penetrated her. Not even denying it. So, imagine my surprise when today it was announced innocent. I should say not guilty. You can bring up the next link. People can see this for themselves. We've chosen the Herald Sun but this has been reported, obviously, all over the place. He was found not guilty. This is, again, I stress, a Saudi property developer. Far be it from me to imply that people from Saudi Arabia might have strange ideas about women in a place where they fucking kill women for committing adultery, but only whip men and routinely stone women to death. Far be it from me to make that suggestion. That would be racist, obviously. That would be racist of me. But yeah, he was found not guilty. Not guilty. There we are. There we are. There we are. I mean, again, like, you can do funny bits about some of the stories on here. You can do comedy. This is like, it's funny, and then the reality sets in, and it's like just some tragic fucking indictment. This is the Australian justice system. I mean, I do not fucking get how anyone in a fucking court could have said, yeah, this story checks out.
I'm not even sure what is defensive. I'm pretty sure tripping into someone and your dick going in them is still illegal, surely. That's still illegal, right?
Oh, and I'm sorry. I mean, I've got it wrong. I'm reading the Australian report, but yeah, this actually did happen in the UK, of course.
Yeah, it was Westland.
Sorry, that's my bad. That's my bad. I misread the thing. So yeah, this is so it's an indictment on the British justice system, and you know. I mean, far be it from me to suggest anything to do with him being a Saudi Arabian millionaire has anything to do. I mean, far be it from me to suggest that something less than proper has gone on here. But again, the interesting thing is, he said he tried to make himself sound like the victim. He said, "I'm fragile. I fell down, but nothing ever happened."
I thought he was going to say, like, emotionally or something, not straight fragile. Mate, look at the size of his head. He ain't fragile, fuck all.
I'm fragile. I fell down, but nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened between me and this girl. Do you want to know what's disgusting? The jury took just 30 minutes to find him not guilty.
There's got to be a part of the story we're missing, surely. This can't be real.
It's fucking real, dog. I don't know what else to tell you. He picked up some chicks, a 24-year-old, an 18-year-old. He drove them around in an Aston Martin. You know, he had them over. They were at his £1,000 per night table in a nightclub. He has sex with one, decides he wants to get jiggy with the other. Of course, I can't say that because he's been found not guilty. So allegedly, he fucking did this. Doesn't deny that he penetrated her. Within 30 minutes, the jury goes, yeah, checks out, mate. Sound.
But there's still a case, even if it was accident. What the fuck?
Mate, seriously.
I don't know if it would be called rape. It would be called something. You can't just straight put your dick in a bitch and just, oh, sorry, accident, whoopsies, going on.
No, that's rape. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, in some sort of amazing accident, like if for some reason this happened on accident and it wasn't rape, there's got to be a name for it. Rape slaughter? Manslaughter?
Rape slaughter? What the fuck is
that? That wasn't the best mix of words, actually. But you get my point. Like the manslaughter equivalent.
That's going to be like the sequel on Steam to Hatred. You edgiest game, rape slaughter, baiting social justice warriors. But anyway, it's the most. It's just crazy. I don't want to dwell too much on it. I just can't. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that can happen in a supposedly developed country, and we can arrive at that conclusion. I'm pretty sure if this was some fucking council estate rat accused of the same crime, he's going to jail for a long, long time. He's being castigated in the press. He's probably getting his personal name, address details, and everything else published by publications who think sex offenders are some of the worst human beings in the world, which of course they are. Anyway, just to end the stupid segment on a more perky note, I did like this story. Came out yesterday. This was in California, a place called Modesto. And basically, there was a pastor. He went to a gun class to learn about gun safety. And the gun safety instructor was acting out a scenario with a loaded gun. And it just accidentally went off and shot the pastor.
So, big safety.
Yeah. So But this story works on two levels for me. So first of all, you've got the absurdity of being in a gun safety fucking class and getting shot, right? Like, I mean, that's great. I love that. That's fucking hilarious. But then on top of that, you've got the fucking fact that this is a pastor, a man of God. You know, where's your God now, right? Where's your fucking God now?
Maybe
like,
this
what
is
have you
the
done?
justice
You've dedicated
because he wants to learn to use a gun.
You're a pastor. You've dedicated your life to God. You've got a gun safety lessons, and you get shot by accident while learning about it. So you know, just saying, what up with that, man? How do you explain that? How does that
Christians?
Yeah, how does that tie in with God's plan?
Damn it.
How does that tie in with God's
Sounds like
plan?
God ain't real.
I'd love to interview the pastor about that. But yeah, unfortunately,
his argument would just be he lived, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, God saved me. Yeah, he made you get shot if he exists.
Yeah, that was just a casual blink in the eyes of God.
That was just a test. Now, obviously, it's getting close to Christmas. Christmas is a miserable time of year, in general. Suicide rates go up. People plunge into alcoholism. Businesses lose thousands and thousands of work hours. I mean, it's that's just what happens. So whenever I see anything festive, I'm used to stupidity to kind of escalate and go up a little bit more than usual. But this is fucking unreal. This is unreal. So this is in Toronto. I mean, far be it from me to suggest that Canada's going to have the same problem Sweden does now in a few years. It's going that way. But this is the most... It's just... What is fucking wrong? Who's even thought of this? So this is a Toronto mall that has decided to bring in something that they're calling the Fashion Santa. Right? And look at this hipster twat. Look at this fucking white-bearded hipster cunt.
Loves him, it.
That ain't fucking Santa. Looks like Daniel Day-Lewis is fucking gone full method to play the gayest man alive. That's what it fucking looks like. What the fuck is this shit?
Santa's too
What's
mainstream.
What's wrong with old Santa?
Too mainstream.
What's wrong with old Santa? So this is a holiday charity campaign, by the way, that it donates $1 to the Sick Kids Foundation for every selfie that people take with Fashion Santa and post on social media using the hashtag Yorkdale Fashion Santa.
See, at least there's an upside, mate. At least there's an upside.
Come on! Fuck that!
That's still a shit rate, by the way. See, if you get like 10,000 people to the mall, not everyone's going to find Fashion Santa. So they're probably going to donate like $500. Just like, we are great people.
It's just unreal. It's just unreal. Like, it's just a conglomerate of everything that's wrong with our fucking narcissistic, throwaway, delusional culture. Look, Santa's not real, obviously. Fine. Right? And it's a mishmash of all this fucking other bullshit and fucking European mythology and whatever, right? But I mean, it stands for something when you're younger, and it doesn't do any harm. It's bullshit, but it's bullshit that doesn't do any harm. Right? It's like Buddhism. It doesn't do any harm, really. It's bullshit, right? It's just straight fucking bullshit.
It's like being spiritual, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't do anyone any harm.
It only does good. It's bullshit, but if it only helps, sound.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And what you've done is you've said, okay, we appreciate that everyone alive today is a fucking piece of shit and is just some horrible, narcissistic ball of fucking inflated ego. And what we're going to do is we're going to, at the time of year when I've just said all these horrible things are happening and suicide rates going up, blah, 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 we're going to, it's for charity, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to encourage everyone to be that shallow, narcissistic cunt in exchange for $1 for sick kids. What the fuck is wrong with you? How's that appropriate? Fashion Santa? I've never heard anything like it in my life. Fashion Santa?
Why are you livid by skinny Santa, mate? Don't even understand.
It's not that he's skinny. Look at him.
Hipster
Look what
Santa,
he's wearing.
yeah. He's a leather jacket Santa, mate, with his
That
iPhone.
leather jacket belongs to fucking Ruby Wax. What's going on? What's fucking going on? If Madonna was dancing around in that shit in the fucking 80s, what the fuck is going on? Can't tolerate it. That's just unacceptable. I hate selfies. I fucking hate selfies.
Fucking, you're going full old man, mate. What selfies? What's this? They're trying to fuck with Santa.
No, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Can you just some preening twat? Just fucking trying to find the perfect angle, doing the straight, the straight chin out, double chin eliminator pose. You know what I mean? Heh. Not fat me, like. I look gorgeous, me. Look what I'm doing. Here's a photo of my dinner. No one gives a fuck. No one cares. Not even your nearest and dearest care. Where you are, where you shop, where you shit, where you eat, what you're doing. No one cares. You're not in a reality TV show. No one cares. You're not important. You don't matter. You are a fucking insignificant speck. Why are you taking 500 photos of yourself every fucking day and putting them on Twitter for your 8 fucking followers who do the same shit? Just some fucking circle jerk of meaningless narcissistic bullshit. What is going on?
You're livid, mate.
Fuck. You're right. I need to move. I need to move on, mate. What's wrong with everybody? It's Christmas. It's fucking Christmas. Go out and do something. Go out and feed the fucking homeless. Take a selfie of that if you have to. Cook a fucking meal, right? And go and give it to someone sleeping rough on a corner. And then at the end go, hey, you all right, mate? Can I just take a selfie of this? Because I'm so fucking pathetic. I just need to validate my existence by letting everybody know what I'm doing. Do that. That's better than this shit. Fashion Santa.
At least it's a meal in it.
Yeah, at least you've actually helped someone there. Not $1 going to sick kids, which goes through some bureaucratic charity. So probably 70 fucking cents on the fucking dollar disappears in fees and wages and other bullshit. Meanwhile, some kid that's desperate for the cure. Will I live to see next Christmas? No, Martin Shkreli took the price, and you can't fucking afford the medicine anyway, whether you take a selfie with Fashion Santa or not. Fuck this planet.
Right. Fucking, of all the shit in this document, I didn't think it was going to be Fashion Santa that would tip you over the edge. We're not even in bad times yet.
No, yeah, exactly. It's fucking unreal. It's just so fucking insipid, vapid, shallow, empty. Like all the other stuff is serious. That's just fucking whoever come up with that idea, please just suck a fucking tailpipe this Christmas. Just do the fucking world a favour, like. There's no rationalization for what you've done there. There just isn't. Fucking Fashion Santa, take a selfie and we'll give $1 to charity. We're down with the kids. Not the sick kids.
Yeah, fuck the
Not
sick
them.
kids.
Fuck them.
They get 30 cents, like.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Anyway, just in case you thought it couldn't get fucking festive enough, this is a great story. So, customers in a McDonald's, this is... Obviously, you know, to see this happened in I think it was in July in the summer, so it's not really tied to the season of Goodwill, but it was reported today after there was an inquest. So customers in McDonald's stepped over a disabled man who was choking to death. He was choking to death.
Something help him, like. Anyway, can I have 20 nugs, mate?
47-year-old man with spina bifida. Collapsed to the floor, food blocking his airway, and people are just like, oh, well, he fucking missed his goal.
He's fucking dead.
I'll take a Big Mac and fries, mate. Yeah, snooze you lose, spinchy biff. Like, it's
Not today, wheels.
Yeah, later Hot Wheels. It's beyond a joke that's happened. Now, I'll say something serious about this. Because I had a weird experience just the other day about this, right? And I was out drinking, as you know. I think this was Friday, and I was in a bar in Birmingham, and I was outside. Friends were having a smoke, and I was just chilling, drinking a beer, and there was a girl collapsed in a chair, puddle of sick all around her. Of course.
Full brom.
And friends around her, like, trying to lift her head up and tap her on the face. Are you all right? You all right? You all right?
Fucking
I'm
deed.
just watching this scene unfold, and I'm like, I used to do first aid and that, so go over. Is everything okay? Anyway, turns out the stricken woman is an epileptic who hasn't been taking her medication. She's having a fucking seizure.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. So I'm checking. You can feel all the jaws all tensed up. They're not even checking her airways. So I had to put her in the recovery position, clear out her airways. It was all clogged up with sick. She wasn't getting enough oxygen, like ragged breathing. I had to call an ambulance. We had to go get a defibrillator from fucking a nearby train station in case she went into fucking cardiac arrest. Right? And the paramedics came and we did everything and we gathered the information about what medication she was meant to be taking. And she was fine. She went to hospital. Everything was good. But like, just imagine if, I'm not saying like, hey, Richard comes to the rescue. But like, imagine if someone doesn't intervene and doesn't do something. Maybe that story has a different end. I don't get why people will watch that shit and won't fucking help each other. I don't understand it. I do not understand what is happening with people's minds. I remember when I was going to a five-a-side game, and I used to have to get the train from where I lived to Birmingham to go over to the five-a-side thing, and we were fucking waiting there, and a guy just took a run, whoomph, and just threw himself in front of the train. Smack. Yeah, this was like 5-6 years ago. So I'm like watching that. Like, and everyone else is just watching. A few people are turning away, shrieking, gasping, screaming. I'm like, well, fuck it, right? You're gonna have to get that guy off the tracks. And he was kind of under the wheels and shit. And we picked him out, and he had like bruising and a bit of a welt on his side. But apart from that, miraculously, he was fine. The driver's come out. He's in a state of shock. He's losing his fucking mind. This guy's saying to me, I just want to die. I just want to die. I'm sat with him trying to keep the driver away. Anyway, police come, ambulance come. We all have to give statements. And then they've got to send the driver. It's policy that if you fucking have someone try and throw themselves under the train, whether it's a fatal incident or not, you have to, the driver has to be taken away for a debrief for a psychological evaluation to make sure he's okay. They have a counsellor specifically for this available round the clock. So anyway, I get back up and they've got to send in another train. Now, obviously, it's a local train. It's running regularly. And as I'm stood there, right, keep in mind, nobody apart from me has intervened or done anything, right? And I'm stood there with all these cunts going, I'm going to be late now. Fuck. What a selfish asshole. I'm like, the guy's fucking depressed. He's just trying to off himself. Where's your compassion? Where's your empathy? Nah, none of that. None of that. You know what I mean? What we need to be like, oh, hey, if someone tries to kill themselves at a train station, take a selfie with him. Take a selfie with their splattered remains on the tracks, and we will donate $1 to suicide awareness. That's literally how fucking people think, mate. It's unbelievable. So the prevailing message of this segment is, if you see somebody clearly in distress, clearly having a bad time, clearly might be in a life-threatening situation, don't just fucking sit there and watch the scene unfold. Fucking intervene. Intervene. If you're not willing to do that, fuck you. You can't then talk about what a fucking good person you are, taking selfies and, haha, I'm so nice. You gotta look out for one another when you see shit like that. So fuck these people. So, yeah, fuck everyone in that McDonald's as well who watched a fucking disabled man choking to death just so they could fucking jump the fucking queue, right? And fucking get their food quicker. Oh, and obviously as well, just to be clear, the guy did die.
Really?
It was like a happy ending. No one intervened. They all watched him choke to death, and he died, and he's dead now. So there you go. Merry Christmas. Right. That's festive stupidity out the way. While we're on the subject of cunts, what about this for a story? So this is the news story, which bizarrely, I think it made the front page of Reddit, and then I think it got locked due to their weird, vague rules about witch hunting, or probably the idea that people, made some fucking, sexist comments or whatever. So this is a mother who shaved her 7-year-old daughter's head, all right? Which, That's arguably bad enough, I guess. But then she told her that she was dying of cancer, that a doctor had got cancer, and then told all of her friends and people on Facebook and shit like that that her daughter was dying from cancer as well, in a bid to fucking scam money out of people.
Fucking hell.
Now, here's the thing, right? If you're gonna run this scam, if you are gonna run this scam, like, I know 7-year-old kids are erratic, okay? But you've already committed. You've already shaved their head. At least tell the kid that you're playing a game and you're actually fine. Don't fucking traumatize her. Get her in on the grift. I mean, look, it's still bad. It's still bad, but, like, get her involved in the grift. Be like, look, Mummy and you are going to scam a lot of money out of a lot of idiots. They will think you're ill. You're not ill. I love you. I'm your mother. You're definitely not ill. All right? But we need to tell people you're ill, and then I can buy you a Barbie doll. And all the Barbie dolls you want. Our secret. At least do that. At least scam that way. Don't fucking tell your 7-year-old girl, you're going to be dead soon. I know you barely lived, and you have no concept what death is. But what that is, that big scary nothingness that comes after our mere flickerings of life, you're having that now.
Remember all that fun you've had? Yeah, that's gone now forever. You'll never have that again. This is it now. Now let me just shave your head. Yeah, no, you won't be needing this, love.
Yeah, and I'm getting triggered, so I'm talking about this. And Fashion Santa's on the page. Like a watchful devil from another dimension. She was one of the sick kids we gave $1 to. I want my dollar back, says Fashion Santa. To put in my neatly sculpted beard, which isn't what Santa has. But anyway. So, unbelievable, really. Texas, of course. Texas, of course. The world's capital on stupid crime. Because if at any point anyone has any doubts about this story, it's going to be pretty fucking easy to disprove. Because when you're getting cancer treatment, it's weird this, you get a doctor's note, and you have letters, and you have medication issued by doctors, and it's signed. And you have to show this to people. Right? Nah. She hasn't got any of that. Could it be a lie? Yeah? Like, obviously people don't like to ask about this thing. They like to be tactful.
Can I see your papers?
Yeah, obviously. But come the fuck on. Well, as soon as you start asking for fucking money, cancer's really rare in young people. Obviously, no one's going to think that fucking, some demented mother shaved her head or whatever, but just start asking for money. Come on.
Show me the fucking evidence.
Show me the pills. Just show me the pills. Anyway, she's been held in lieu of a $10,000 bond. She's going to get fucked. So, yeah. You can't beat this. This is like one of the most grotesque acts of fucking child cruelty you can do. It's like one down from sexual abuse. So yeah, she's not going to
murder, of course. That goes
without saying. I don't even consider that abuse. You just killed someone. You can't call that abuse. I was abused as a child. Oh, what happened? I'm dead.
You're a fucking deed, man.
You're imagining this because I'm dead. I've been dead for years. Obviously, murder isn't abuse, you know. But anyway, so she's there's no Texas as well. Harsh sentencing. They don't give a fuck. They send women to the chair. I mean, she's definitely not going to get the chair for this, but their sentences are fucking unreal. So yeah, she will get her just rewards for a terrible deed. So deed.
Fucking.
So
deed.
this is Safe Spaces Gone Wild. Everyone loves this section. So let's get into it. There was a report in The Atlantic. I strongly recommend everybody reads this report. This was published on December the 7th. unbelievable. It was a report by Melinda D. Anderson in their education section. You will remember The Atlantic is the same publication that published one of the best articles of the year, which was the mollycoddling of the American mind, talking about how the American education system at all levels is becoming about people's fees, not academic exploration, not academic development, not freedom of speech, not even the fucking American Constitution anymore. It has just become a fucking business that is there to validate idiots that already think things that they don't want to be challenged. They just don't want their worldview to be challenged. And by challenged, I'm not even talking about in an aggressive way. They don't want to hear opinions they don't agree with. They don't want to read books that might point to evidence that might make them think about the opinions that they hold. They just want a self-serving echo chamber of retardation. That is what American schools and American colleges at all level are turning into. So it should come as fucking no surprise to know that there is like a record number of preschoolers. So this is like age 3 to 4 being suspended from school. What can a 3 to 4-year-old do to warrant being suspended from fucking preschool?
Maybe more of those love letters, mate. Crayons.
Yeah. And obviously, this is a very long report to disseminate. I will not be able to do it justice. So I strongly urge, if you're interested in these things, that you read all of this. But yes, it's exactly what you think. And, of course, because it's America, there's a race and class kind of tie to it. When they're analyzing the data, it seems to be happening more to boys. So it's the gender thing, of course, black boys, and of course, boys from working class backgrounds, bizarrely. So definitely look at that. But this is just a shocking story. I can't. I think it's bad enough that we're testing kids younger and younger these days. Now we're making them adhere to rules with these ridiculous life-altering outcomes. Let's be clear. If you deprive kids from a essential part of the educational experience when they're at their most developmentally susceptible, you are doing a huge injustice to that child that will one day be an adult. And when you look at some of the reasons for the suspensions have been given for, quote, too many toilet mishaps for a 3-year-old. If you can't shit yourself when are you ever going to be allowed to do that? Well, you have to wait until 93 before it suddenly becomes okay. Well, that guy ain't going to live to 93 because he's going to have a fucked education and he's going to have to work some fucking bumfuck dead-end job that wears him down like a fucking, to a nub. And then he's going to die at 60 from probably a preventable illness with medication he can't afford because it's America.
Get square-lead, mate.
He's been skrellied. So you're not even allowed to shit yourself at 3 years old. And also, a 4-year-old was booted out of school, no pun intended, for kicking off his shoes and crying.
Fucking hell.
What
Still
is
do that now, mate, when I've had enough.
Yeah,
Can't be arsed.
Not every fucking day. So, yeah, just unbelievable stuff. That's obviously the start of the safe space has gone wild, but we got some good ones for you. We got some real good ones. You'll love this story. This is a story about how a school board member in Wisconsin wants the Muppets book to be banned from a kindergarten curriculum. The Muppets book, right? And I'm going to read you the quote because the Muppets, right? They're great. We all like the Muppets.
Everyone loves the Muppets.
You like the Muppets, right?
Of course.
Lots of fun memories growing up as a kid. It was one of the first shows that was ostensibly a kid's show, but obviously had a very sort of clever level of humor that adults could get. It was structured like like the Johnny Carson show, the original Muppet show. There was lots of references, lots of layers that adults could appreciate, and it was good, clean family entertainment to boot. And obviously, they've reinvented themselves. I mean, Muppets: A Christmas Carol is probably like the second best Christmas film after fucking Die Hard. That's fucking brilliant. Michael Caine's great. Heartbreaking. Watch it when you see Tiny Tim all gimped up, coughing up his fucking. Does he make it? I cannot say. Bad news, mate. Bad news for Tiny Tim. Anyway, so this teacher, or school board member, sorry, I should say, Marie Carney, said, I have concerns that the Muppets book is too graphic. The book is, by the way, For Every Child a Better World. It's been in kindergarten classes for a long, long time. For Carney, it's too graphic, even though it is using Muppet characters. Unfortunately, in this world, there is a lot of war and strife and poverty. I understand that. I just don't know how appropriate that is to be teaching to 5-year-olds. Now, let's be real. It's not teaching you about the fucking horrors of war, this book, Every Child, Right, A Better World, by Jim fucking Henson. So this is a book that literally, like 5-star rated on Amazon. You know, kids fucking love it. But it does tell you about how we can make the world a better place. It talks about the United Nations, talks about why we've got a responsibility to be peaceful. It explains that, you know, while every child needs food, not all children all around the world get enough food. And that's why we should be mindful of others. And we should do more to be empathetic and to improve the planet. And apparently it's too graphic. We should be telling kids those essential life lessons.
I'll be telling kids the real world.
It's unreal, isn't it? Reminds me of an incident, right? My mother was a teacher in a private school, and there was an assembly at one time. I think it was at Christmas, like a big school assembly. And they were talking about how, you know, hey, everyone who comes to this school leads an incredibly privileged life. And, you know, let's think about those less privileged than us. Let's think about starving people in Africa. Let's think about people who live in countries crippled by third world debt. Let's, you know, all of this stuff. And anyway, the next day, all these wealthy parents who obviously pay a fortune for their kids to go to this school, they called an emergency, like, PTA meeting or whatever, Parents and Teachers Association meeting, and they were like, how dare you guilt trip our kids for being privileged?
Mint.
How dare you do that? For telling them to be more mindful. You know, these are teenagers. It's like the idea is if we don't tell people that there's a big bad world out there, yeah, and just let them live in their cocoons of privilege and wealth, we're doing them a favour. We're not doing them a favour. That's a terrible way to live. That's fucking unreal. But there you go. So the Muppets, you heard it here first. Too graphic for children. And
I like how they talk about the book as if it's just like live leak screenshots. It's
yeah, exactly.
The worst thing in it is literally, I think there's like a drawing of a kid in a box, or sort of like living in the rain.
Yeah,
that's the worst thing in there.
Like it's like basically, yeah, Orgrish shut down. Orgrish.com shut down. That's an old school site for anyone out there. Orgrish.com shut down and formed a partnership with Jim Henson. For Every Child a Better Beheading by Jim Henson. It's just the different kinds of beheading videos you can watch. Hey, come the fuck on. It's nothing like that. It's a kid living in a fucking box and some pictures of some people in Africa with empty food bowls. Because guess what? They don't get a lot to eat. It's called a famine. You might have heard of it. So yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Then, just in case that wasn't dumb enough, oh, you'll love this one. Oh, this is so good. So obviously everybody knows that we've had all these weird race protests in American universities because apparently the American educational institution is racist and overtly racist, if we're to believe these protesters. And even though they can't ever find any evidence of racism, and even though they've been proven demonstrably to have lied multiple times about the racism on campus, you know, such as what was going on at Mizzou, where they were claiming the Ku Klux Klan were there and the National Guard had been called, all denied. The National Guard said, what the fuck, we ain't been called to anything. No actual sightings of the Ku Klux Klan. Everyone who made that claim had to fucking renounce it. And then you had the other university where a blind woman who dropped some dog shit on the floor because she couldn't find a dog shit bin was accused of being fucking racist because it happened to be outside the black students building. I mean, what are the chances? But they immediately jumped on that it was some sort of fucking racist attack when it was just a bag of dog shit that was left on the floor by a blind woman.
Much
Well,
like
anyway,
their opinions, mate.
yeah. So this was a cracker. Students at a small Pennsylvania college are demanding that a building named after Clyde A. Lynch, who was president of Lebanon Valley College from 1932 to 1950. The building's called the Lynch Memorial Hall. They want it to be changed because of the racial overtones of the word lynch.
It's not called like Hang Black's Memorial, mate. You do realise Lynch is a name. Like, how is this even racist? This is ridiculous. It's not even comparable.
We nearly had to show there, mate. Fucking spat water all over my computer.
But this is just a name. How is this even given time in the day? Like, it's just straight a name. Yeah, sorry, names are also words sometimes. Wrecked.
Yeah.
Robbed for no reason.
Yeah, unbelievable, isn't it? So Lynch is the whole surname's off the table now, I guess. Because, I mean, obviously you're going to meet people called Lynch, Mr. Lynch, Mrs. Lynch, Johnny Lynch, Peter Lynch.
Because it is, in fact, a name.
It's a name, but what are we going to do? I think we should have a nationwide mandate, a global mandate. Maybe the UN can get involved. Maybe Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn can spearhead this one, where all people with the surname Lynch are sterilized. Or at least given financial incentives not to breed, or financial incentives to marry should they be a woman so they lose their surnames. We need to eradicate the surname Lynch from the planet because it's too triggering. So there you go. Unbelievable. And then this. I'm going to have to say the word microaggression. I'm so ill. Feel so sick. More student protests now. And just in case you were under any fucking delusions about what these student protesters really want, what they want is fucking attention. They have no cause. They have no fucking grasp of any global situation that's going on. They're not oppressed. They're not victims. They're already at an American university. They're already living way better lives than millions of other American kids that they claim to stand in solidarity with. These fuckers just want attention, and they just want some fucking limelight, and they just want to be pandered to. And damn any institution that does that. But here we go, a report here in the National Review saying student activists at the University of Kansas are making a claim that a sorority that was selling candy canes to raise money for children with cancer, real children with cancer, not fake children whose mother
shaved head kids.
Yeah, just written. Yeah, not Nazi skinhead kids age 7, right? Not American History X children. Okay, real kids with real cancer, right? And this was a real fundraiser to raise money. These student activists said that was racist, and they called it a microaggression against them. And you're like, well, Richard, how can that be possible? You must be misinterpreting something here. So obviously the student protesters were trying to draw attention again to this fictitious and imaginary racism that is going on the University of Kansas campus. And what they said is that why are people caring more about this act of philanthropy than our very real protests against very real racism? So the sorority even had to come out and apologize for doing a fundraiser and said our intention was solely to raise money for kids suffering from cancer and not to take away from the issue of oppression of marginalized groups or to appear racially insensitive. They had to apologize.
Sick.
Meanwhile, the protesters are saying, we supported them, we donated money to them, and yet when we asked them to join and support our cause, we were met with nothing. They're selling candy canes to raise money for kids with cancer. What do you think you have in common ideologically? Yeah, our protest is now about we want to fight for black rights, we want to stop racism and cancer.
It's like Russia and the UK talking like, yeah, we all hate North Korea, yeah? And they're just like, yeah, and fuck those gays as well, boys, yeah? Let's kick them to death. And just, no, mate. No. Right? Like, but you were with me for that, mate. I was there for Korea. Yes, mate. How are these related?
And you can see as well, there was another tweet there where they told the protesters, one of the figureheads of the protest activist movement, said, "Control your members. Now is not the time for laughing and candy canes. Have you heard of microaggressions? Have you heard of microaggressions?" Yeah, unfortunately, I have, and they're not real, and they don't exist. And anyone that uses the phrase microaggression is a fucking retard and an anti-intellectual, and has literally got nothing to offer anybody with any fucking opinion that comes tumbling out of their mouth like some sort of regurgitated turd.
So.
So that's Safe Spaces gone wild. Yep, it's still going wild. Still going wild. I guess we'll start accelerating towards the end. Obviously, we're getting close to the hour, and we don't want to do too much. Wouldn't be an episode of I Hate It Here without highlighting some police corruption. The New York Times published this story on December the 8th. Video of Chicago police show a 38-year-old black man just being shocked by a taser and dragged down a hallway back in 2012. The victim of this tasing attack later died at hospital, but a medical examiner who noted the trauma said his death had been caused by an allergic reaction to a medication, didn't attribute any of his death to the repeated shocks that he saw. Now, Sam, again, if you want to play the video while I'm talking over this is pretty shocking. He was handcuffed again, and far be it from me to say that the police have a fucking problem controlling themselves, but I say it every week, and I'll say it again. The police have a problem controlling themselves in America. They need to have their toys taken away from them in the same way. If you gave a child a BB gun and you said, this is a gun and you have to wield it responsibly, and I will teach you how to use this gun and clean this gun and wield it responsibly, and I will teach you how to aim at paper targets. And the kid goes, yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, mummy. Thanks for that, daddy. I'm going to act really responsible with this gun. And then day one, he goes out and shoots another kid in the fucking eye with it, because he thought it would be funny. At that point, you take the gun away, right? That's responsible parenting. Well, police in America are big fucking kids. They are educationally subnormal, pumped up, steroided lunatics, glorified fucking security guards that are given an arsenal of tools with which to oppress citizens that simply want to exercise their constitutional rights within their country. And we hear about it week in, week out. And I am sick of hearing the same bullshit that it's just a few bad apples. This is systematic. There are record numbers of civilians being killed by police in America right now. And hilariously, Obama will come out and talk about fucking gun restrictions and gun laws and erosion of Second Amendment rights every time there's a school shooting. Well, school shootings are happening less frequently than police killing the civilians they are entrusted to serve and protect in America. When are we going to have a conversation about police brutality, the systemic and systematic implementation of it? And when are we going to start saying we need to start scaling back the rights that police have, the weapons that police have? When are we going to start saying that? Because that's the sensible conversation I have right now. If we want to stop school shootings and we're saying banning guns is the way to do it, well, if we want to stop police shootings, why are we giving police fucking the right to use lethal force in ridiculous situations that would never call for lethal force? Unarmed criminals fleeing a scene, getting shot in the back 12 times? You do not deserve to die for acting on your self-preservation instincts, even if you've committed a crime. There has to be a situational application of lethal force. There has to be a situational application of tasing someone. This does not count. A subdued, handcuffed man already in a cell being tased multiple times. This is absolutely insane. There is nothing. And then to cover it up in what is a criminal conspiracy that doesn't just include the police. It includes the coroner's office. It includes everyone therein. this is a stain on America and everything America claims to stand for. And they need to start taking what's going on with their police very fucking seriously. Because they got a fucking problem. They got a real problem. There's a book, I keep talking about it, called The Rise of the Warrior Cop, the Militarization of America's Police Force. I think it's by a guy called Stephen Bilko, I think his name is. Anyway, he's a beat reporter. He's been covering crime in America for a long, long time. And he has seen the fundamental change. He has seen that when you used to have police who were armed with a snub-nosed 38 and told, it's got to be super serious before you even draw that weapon, let alone discharge it. Now we've got fucking SWAT teams raiding houses of people who are suspected of low-level marijuana possessions, shooting dogs, shooting civilians, smashing up houses. Not to mention, of course, what we've already talked about on the show, record numbers of asset forfeiture, a lot of it illegal. But there's no legal recourse for American citizens to get back their own fucking property. And police are doing this to basically fund things like having fucking AR assault rifles and Humvees for a police force that do not need it. So America's got a big fucking problem. And it's getting worse every day. And as I said, we're going to have record numbers of civilian fatalities at the hands of police this year, and it's going to increase next year because no one's going to do anything about it. We need to go back to how it used to be, where fucking these, you had a right to defend yourself even from the police if they were acting in an improper fashion, if they were acting outside of the law, which most of these killings are. But even when it's ruled an unlawful killing, the police don't go to jail. They get training workshops. They get pensioned off. We need to start taking a stand. America's got to start taking a stand against this. So anyway, there's my thoughts on that. And that's the police corruption section. Thought this was an interesting little story. I'm just going to throw this in. Now, keep in mind, this is a story that's in Germany. This was reported in the International Business Times. For those that aren't aware, Germany has rules about wearing uniforms. If you form like a militia, a group, and you wear uniforms because of they want to stop the rise of
triggered, of course.
Yeah. The rise of like National Socialism. We all know where that went before. So Germany has very strict laws about this. And indeed, if it was a Nazi uniform, of course, you go to prison, whatever. But there was a group of radical Islamic preachers in a town called Wuppertal in Germany who would wear fake uniforms that give them this illusion of being involved in the police or being part of emergency services or at best a construction service. And on the back it says Sharia police. Now you know how I feel about the implementation of Sharia law. It's absolutely repellent. I'm all for your freedom of choice to believe in your crazy little quaint superstitions all called religion. You can do that. But as soon as you start to apply any divine mandate to state law and you start to take the word of any religious text as complete fucking gospel and 100% how we should all live our lives, given that they were written in a time when things like fucking electricity didn't exist, you're an idiot. You're a fucking moron, and you have to be stopped for the good of society. Now, in Germany, this group called the Sharia police, and these are all followers of the Salafist or Wahhabist form of Islam, which we've talked about again, the one prevalent in Saudi Arabia. It's Saudi Arabia that's funding mosques being formed all around Europe to preach Wahhabism, whereas the more moderate form of Islam that exists and definitely does exist, the more moderate, peaceful form of Islam that can actually fit in with Western ideals because they're not looking to impose their beliefs on anybody. Right, these people do not represent Islam, but this the problem. Fucking Saudi Arabia are funding these fucking mosques, and it's growing. Wahhabism is growing, and this is a manifestation of that. This group would patrol around Wuppertal, and what they would do is they would declare zones of Wuppertal as Sharia-controlled zones, and they would order the locals under threat and duress to obey Sharia law. And they would walk around. Threaten people. If they saw somebody drinking alcohol, they would threaten them. If they saw a woman not wearing a headdress, they would threaten them. And they were basically going around provoking people, intimidating people, and trying to make people so scared they adopted Sharia law, whether they were a Muslim or not. Now,
I love that happening in Port Talbot, mate. Can you just imagine if they came to like somewhere rough, just like Sharia law? Is you though, mate? Is you though? Are you gonna stop me drinking my pint? Yeah. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't it wouldn't fly in certain places in the world, but I think that's fair to say. But they it was obviously brought to court, and they're not going to face charges. They're not going to face any charges. They're saying it didn't amount to a breach of the laws on wearing uniforms in the country, and they're not doing anything illegal that's covered by any German law. So the group's probably going to continue. And at a time when we're trying to stop radicalization of young people, we're trying to stop the more insidious forms of Islam taking hold in Western civilization. For a court to rule that these people have done nothing wrong is mind blowing, mind blowing. So I was very surprised at that, but you got to say, Germany does have some issues. Again, I'm starting to see this in a lot of European countries that want to be as progressive as possible. We're eschewing common sense and we're eschewing fairness to achieve that goal. Now, at the opposite end of the spectrum, whenever there is anti-Islamic and anti-ISIS sentiment, there is one group of people that always get fucked over more than anyone else in the backlash. And yes, Muslims get some backlash, but there's one group who they don't have a dog in the fight, and they always get fucked over. The Sikhs. Sikhs. Right? The Sikhs have got nothing to do with Islam. Nothing. They're Sikhs. And, it's fucking unbelievable that this story coming out of Los Angeles is a Sikh temple was vandalized with anti-ISIS graffiti in the aftermath of the California shooting. A Gurdwara was fucking...
Imagine just what is this, boys? Like, who's fucked up? You can't. I wouldn't even be angry if I was just like, what a bunch of monks.
But obviously, there's a very real fear. We start and in the aftermath of any radical Islamic attack, there are reprisals. There's obviously people that push back and commit hate crimes and everything else, and that's terrible. And then the Sikhs have to endure living in this fucking air of fear because people are so fucking ignorant that they would write "fuck ISIS" on a Sikh temple. The Sikhs are getting they're under threat from ISIS. ISIS isn't a friend of Sikhism, and you can spot them. They got turbans on the fucking head. They don't even look like them. They got massive long beards and fucking turbans. Do you know what I mean? And they carry a fucking knife. Well, all right.
That's why they don't fuck with the Sikhs.
It's 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3, actually. But the point is, they got turbans, right? And I've always been super sympathetic to the Sikh community because I'll tell you about the Sikh community. Growing up in a mining town, we had a lot of Sikhs where I grew up, a very high proportion of the Sikh community. And during the height of sort of the miners' strike, and indeed at times of national crisis under the Thatcher era, the Sikhs have a rule where they will go out and feed the hungry. So when people were on picket lines during the miners' strike, the Sikhs all came down, and these people couldn't afford to eat anyway, and they were scrimping and saving, but they obviously couldn't go home. You couldn't leave the picket line, so people were literally fucking starving. And the Sikh community where I grew up went and fed people voluntarily. They brought fucking loads of banging curry down to all the miners. Right?
Bang,
So I grew up around Sikhism. And I even went to what they call a Khalsa camp, which is like a transcendental meditation camp for opening your mind. It's bollocks, but I gave it a go, And that was run by Sikhs, a nice guy called Roop Singh, my spiritual advisor. So this is ridiculous that the Sikhs are getting embroiled in this. They're, good people, and and again, shouldn't be. If you can't tell a difference between a fucking Sikh and a Muslim, maybe, just fucking maybe, you shouldn't be spouting your views about politics and religion. Maybe you just shouldn't. Maybe
Maybe don't have the IQ needed to comment on such issues.
And then I didn't include this in the thing. Let me just show you this. Where was it? I can definitely find it. Yeah, here we go. So I'll just give you the link from the Mirror. So I'm just going to drop that in chat for you. And you can do about this. So do you remember that story? There was a teacher in Paris who said he got attacked by a dude who screamed, "This is for ISIS."
Yeah, and he stabbed himself.
And he attacked him. And he attacked him with a box cutter or something.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, this is for Daesh. It was because ISIS are so all over the place they can't even decide on a fucking name. IS, ISIS, ISIL, Daesh. Fuck them. You know what I mean? Get your branding right. Anyway, this was a nursery school teacher who claimed to have been attacked. Well, it's all been proven that he made it up. Made it up. I mean, what a fucking worse tribute to pay to all the people who died in the Paris attacks than this. What a disgusting fucking debasement of everything that happened there. You know, like at times when tensions are high and the Muslim community are feeling marginalized and France are raiding mosques, and I'll be honest, they have found radical hate mosques. They said they've seized more armed weapons in these raids that would like make up a typical year. You know, they have found radicalized mosques. They found you know, all sorts of stuff. They have found this stuff, yes. There have been elements of the Muslim community that are radicalized. But at a time when this is just a sensitive time for Paris, a sensitive time globally, for a guy to think, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pretend I was attacked by an ISIS member, and I'm going to fake an attack. I don't even know what you're thinking. Like, what is the end goal there? We're already you're not going to eclipse the Paris attacks.
Yeah,
you're not going to be.
It's not added.
You're not going to be the guy, and everyone goes, "Oh, well, they've gone too far now, ISIS."
I know what.
They've gone too far now. Not the 130 dead in a mass coordinated attack. Not that. Not then. But attacking a teacher. Come on. And he didn't even kill him. You know. So I can't even believe that somebody would even think to do this. He's never revealed his reasons. There's been no public statement about why he did it. But the good news is obviously it was proven to be a lie. The guy couldn't keep his story straight when questioned by police. And
he also didn't have any wounds apparently. So like that's kind of a big hole in the plan. Like.
Yeah, well, didn't he have like a tiny thing?
No, he had like a tiny slice, but it was like a scratch, and they were just like, "Well, that's not a knife wound, is it, mate?"
So, yeah, ridiculous. There's no evidence to suggest that this guy's mentally ill. He's a functional member of society. He teaches kids, obviously. The manhunt cost the Paris state hundreds of thousands of pounds. It's resources that could be obviously dedicated to protecting civilians. I mean, it's just a grotesque crime that this guy has committed. Now, he will be held fully accountable. It would actually come under a hate crime under the anti-discrimination laws they have in France. This is the thing. People are trying to portray France as this insane, nationalistic, Islamophobic nation. They got some of the best anti-discrimination and anti-hate crime laws in Europe. They've got laws that stop you stigmatizing minority groups, and that extends to Islam. So it's never as black and white as people make out. But anyway, just to end the story, obviously we all know that we're at war with Syria, which basically the war in Syria means that we're joining in, bombing the shit out of civilians in a bid in a hopeful bid that we might kill a few ISIS people along the way. That's what we're doing. I mean, that's the reality about what
sure, the civilians who aren't ISIS will definitely not join ISIS because we're just bombing them all for a laugh.
No. I mean, because why?
That really helps with ISIS spreading how much the UK hates all Muslims and wants to kill us all. Definitely gonna help. Like,
yeah, I mean, our tensions are already high, and I think the best way to reduce those tensions is by killing civilians, which is the exact means and ways that radicalized Islamic groups use to recruit people to their cause.
Yeah, we're literally giving them propaganda, and it's not even propaganda this time. It's real.
Yeah. It's very real. So yeah, basically, that's what we're doing. We're going to carpet bomb the fuck out of Syria. Russia are already doing it. I mean, we played a video last week that showed the very real repercussions of this: children running around screaming, people bleeding, no ISIS operatives to be found. And just in case you didn't realise that the British government was populated by absolute fucking pigs. Some of the lowest...
And pig fuckers, man.
Pigs and pig fuckers, of course, with David Cameron. And just intellectual lightweights that don't understand geopolitics at all, or some of the more nuanced issues in combating extremism. George Osborne, the Chancellor, went out there banging the drums of war, tooting his fucking horn, and declared, and this is a quote, that by committing to airstrike Syria, the UK has got its mojo back. Got its fucking mojo back. This isn't a sequel to Austin Powers.
It's not even like we're bombing a country that's actually, like, you know, fighting back. We're just straight bomb and drop. They're not airstriking as bad as it. It's not like we're going to war with Russia, mate. Got our mojo. Fuck it. It's with Syria, mate. Like, nothing is happening.
Right. So this was a speech he made. He was talking to the Council on Foreign Relations think tank. And he said it was a source of real pride that MPs had overwhelmingly backed airstrikes in Syria because killing civilians in a bid to defeat a phantom menace is something to be proud of. He said, Britain has got its mojo back, and we are going to be with you as we reassert Western values. Same Western values, of course, we've been trying to impose on the fucking Middle East for years, which has caused all of the fucking problems historically when you look at it. Confident that our best days lie ahead. Well, our best days might. I don't think Syria's best days lie ahead. He also went on to say, the House of Commons did not agree with the proposition that David Cameron and myself and my colleagues in the Conservative leadership put forward, and it was quite a striking moment. It was a moment when Britain was unable to follow the lead asked of it by our Prime Minister and the government. It is for me a real source of pride that actually a couple of years later, the House of Commons has voted by a big majority to take part in the action already being directed against this terrorist organisation, ISIS or Daesh in Syria. And then he added, airstrikes are not the answer alone. But the airstrikes will definitely help degrade the jihadi organisation. I mean, it hasn't been said by people who've been held hostage by Islamic radicals that actually this is what they want. They're trying to goad you into bombing innocent civilians. It's exactly what they want. They want to create a situation where the only alternative for these people is to join the caliphate. That's not what they... But forget about that. Forget about that. Military intelligence probably points to that as well. I mean, that's an oxymoron in and of itself. But anyway... He said, it's difficult to see how Syria can have any long-term future with Assad there as president. Many people would never return to that country if that were the case. I mean, you're going to not leave them with anything to return to, of course. But that also doesn't mean the entire Syrian regime has to go. Well, which is it? Is the regime supporting ISIS? Is that why we're bombing the country? Or do we need to overthrow the regime? Are we doing it to just get... I mean, it's unbelievable. And then he added, alarmingly, I think in Britain we are ready to play a bigger role. Brilliant. Let's commit to ground troops. Let's start sending more working class boys home in boxes, fighting a bullshit, meaningless fucking war in the Middle East to defeat something that is ideological in nature and only grows every time we start killing non-radicalized Muslims with indiscriminate methods of warfare, such as carpet bombing. Brilliant. Let's do that. But I mean, we got our fucking mojo back, Sam.
Yeah, definitely, man. Back to bombing countries that can't bomb us back. Sound. Real mojos.
Yeah.
Let's go to North Korea, mate. That's how you get mojo back. Fight North Korea. Then you might say you can have your mojo back.
Yeah. So, I think that's where we're going to end the show, Sam. I think we'll end it there. I mean, you're right. I did get mad triggered by Fashion Santa, but obviously I'm mad triggered by all of it, of course. Because it's hard to believe any of this stuff is real. So, any final words from you?
Nah.
Nah?
Other than rest in peace, Easy, of course.
Of course. Well, anyway, thanks to everybody for watching. If you're watching the VOD, which I'm sure you are, thanks for watching that too. Thanks for Sam for producing the show. And until next time, that was the news. I wish it wasn't. See ya.
See ya.